F1 heads to the 13th round, the Hungarian Grand Prix. And after this would be a 1 month break, and I already made a video on how to survive that 1 month break, so go and check it out. But anyways, in the Hungarian Grand Prix, Ferrari were showing pace in free practice, finishing P3 in all of them, and McLaren having a 1-2 in every single free practice session. And Red Bull's pace were terrible. They were probably the 7th, 8th fastest car this week, and they were just saved by Max Verstappen. So as we head into qualifying, Yuki Tsunoda once again gets knocked out in Q1. The fact that it was actually Liam Lawson who knocked him out this time. And this time, he was only a 10th behind Max Verstappen, not his usual 8/10ths behind Verstappen. So it was very unusual for Red Bull this weekend. They were terrible. Maybe it's the cold temperatures. Franco Colapinto out-qualifies Pierre Gasly, and Nico Hülkenberg is knocked out. And he still hasn't made a Q3 appearance this year, but somehow he's been on the podium already. In Q2, Kimi Antonelli yet again misses Q3, and Lewis Hamilton for the second race weekend in a row misses Q3. I swear. And someone get this man a therapist, or even someone get him Nicole back, or a different girl. Someone get him a girlfriend, because of his interviews after qualifying was genuinely sad. It's horrible to see him in this state. I've never seen him like this before. Probably only after Abu Dhabi, but yeah, this was. Come on, Lewis. Bring out the 2018 Demon Time Lewis once again. I want to see that back. But anyways, in Q3, Charles Leclerc digged deep in his ass and pulled out a pole position out of nowhere after being terrible in Q2. And now he's on pole position by a very fine margin. And more surprising, the top 6 was separated by a 10th, and Lance Stroll wasn't 3 million years off of Fernando Alonso. He actually had a good qualifying session. So your front 10 for the Hungarian Grand Prix is Charles Leclerc, Piastri, Norris, Russell, Alonso, Stroll, Bortoleto. Gabriel Bortoleto has been cooking Nico Hülkenberg in qualifying this year. Max Verstappen in P8, Liam in P9, Isaac Hadjar in P10, a double Racing Bulls in Q3, and Max Verstappen somehow put the 8th fastest car in P8. So this race was actually not that bad. I mean, nothing can be that bad after what we saw at Spa. This race was actually pretty decent, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not a wheel-to-wheel exciting race, but it was a strategical race, and I think I like these kind of races from time to time, but I obviously still prefer a race that's won on track. And at the start, Lando Norris dropped 2 positions at turn 1. Literally the same thing as what he did last year. This time it was from P3 to P5 instead of P1 to P3, and he wasn't illegally passed this time. All of them passed him on merit. Charles Leclerc, surprisingly, was able to keep the lead. I honestly thought that he would drop 3 positions in lap 1, like what Lewis Hamilton did back in 2023, but nope, he kept it, and he kept it for a very long time. So after lap 1, it was Leclerc, Piastri, Russell, Alonso. Fernando Alonso fighting for a podium in 2025. You love to see it, but he ended up getting overtaken by Lando Norris. And George Russell would also get overtaken, but no, he wouldn't. Lando Norris couldn't get past George Russell for the life of him. And to be completely fair to him, you can't really overtake in Hungary unless your car is 3 seconds faster than the car ahead. And the Mercedes is pretty decent under cold temperatures. Before we continue, we're very close to the goal of 10,000 before August, so be sure to subscribe and also give me a follow on Instagram. I'm trying to reach 300 there. So the strategy in this race was very split. Some were going for the 1-stop, some were going for the 2-stop. There was no consensus of, okay, this is the outright best strategy. It was a very split strategy, but I think it should have been very obvious that in this race the 1-stop would have been better because A, track temperatures dropped, it was pretty cold, and B, again, a point that I like to bring up, you can't overtake in Hungary very easily. It takes you to have a car that's 3 seconds a lap faster than the car ahead. And one of the drivers who made it very clear that he was going for a 1-stop was Fernando Alonso, because he was holding up literally half the grid, and there was one point where from P4 to P20, all of them were in a DRS train. When you're behind a car that's generally pretty slow and decides to start tire managing, the entire race is ruined. It's gonna be a slugfest. And slugfest it was. So there are different strategies going up and down the field, but ultimately the one-stop was the superior strategy on this day. And yeah, those were the one-stop. Ended up finishing with really, really good positions. Like, the Aston Martin boys had a solid race. Liam Lawson was really good. He finished ahead of Max Verstappen. But Red Bull did have a bad strategy, which just left Verstappen stuck in dirty air. And at least we got to see 2021 rebirth. Just the ultra depressing version of 2021. What happened, Hannah? Her strategies haven't really been that great this year. Remember Spain as well? So in conclusion, if you were behind Fernando Alonso at this race, you were bound to get screwed over at some point. It's the Fernando Alonso tire saving experience. No one can escape it. I'm pretty sure this is the first time Max Verstappen experienced that, actually. Anyways, Charles Leclerc is still leading, right? So at first, like what most of us thought, Ferrari got the strategy wrong. But then it turned out they were having issues with their chassis, so even if I think they did the one-stop and got their strategy right, they wouldn't have won this race, because that car is super unreliable and super fragile. I genuinely think the peak performance of the Ferrari could be up there with McLaren. You know what we saw in China, right? But they can't run their car close to the ground as much as they would like to, because their floor scratches super easily. I don't think they need to find performance upgrades now. I think they need to find reliability upgrades. And remember when they said 99% of the car concept was different? Maybe they shouldn't have made it different. And maybe they should have considered making it less fragile, because this car is literally a 90s car with the amount of management they have to do, lifting and coasting. They asked Lewis to lift and coast from lap 3 onwards. And this was genuinely horrendous. Oh my gosh, what in the name of Max Verstappen defending is this? I know we like to make fun of George Russell being super sensitive, trying to get other drivers penalties, but come on, this was valid. If Charles Leclerc wasn't so far ahead of Fernando Alonso, this would have probably been a penalty. And the Ferrari cycle continues. It's over. Hull up. We're so back. It's over again. And right after I make this video, it gets even worse. We were on the trajectory up again. Before I made this video, the British Grand Prix was a step in the right direction. And after that, it's all slowly going downhill. I'm gonna cry in a corner right now. Why is our season going so badly? We had a great car last year. You know what? This is Damon Hill's fault. Don't ask why it's Damon Hill's fault. It's just Damon Hill's fault. And Charles Leclerc was crashing out so much to the point where his radio transcript was going off the screen. The McLaren strategical, I wouldn't even really call it a meltdown. It was just a weird strategy. So basically, McLaren pitted Piastri first to try and undercut Charles Leclerc. This makes a lot of sense. And this forced Ferrari into the two-stop. And since George Russell was also going for a two-stop, McLaren looked at Lando and said, you know what, we're gonna try something different. You're gonna get the alternative strategy. You're gonna get the one-stop. Because he's gonna finish P4 anyways if they go on a two-stop, because Fernando Alonso was a million years behind him. So McLaren might as well go and try something different. And try something different they did. And it worked. Lando Norris was able to hold off Oscar Piastri for the final stages of the race and wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. And Oscar Piastri did have 3 decent looks, not amazing looks, but decent looks, but nothing was able to come out of it in the end. And I do think this was very winnable. Yes, I've been saying that Hungary is extremely difficult to overtake unless your car is 3 seconds a lap quicker than the car ahead. But without this lockup, he could have been closer in his final exit on the final lap. So there's that. Although I do think McLaren should have pitted Oscar a lot sooner than they actually did. And as much as I'm defending McLaren's strategical decisions, I'm not at all praising Lando Norris for this wins. Like, okay, out of all of Lando Norris's wins, let's be very real. This is easily the weakest one out of all of them. I mean, come on, look at his pace in the opening stint. He was stuck behind George Russell, and he was losing a lot of time in dirty air. And I've seen some people saying, well, he was able to make those mediums work. That's very impressive. Well, maybe to an extent, but other drivers were able to do the same thing. The track temperatures were super cold that it allowed for it. Like, literally, the way Lando Norris won was literally just drive, and he won the race. And no, before you say anything, I don't hate Lando. In fact, I want him to win more races so the championship can go down to the final race. It's just that, I don't know, it really didn't feel like a special win today, because he kind of just drove, and boom, he won the race. It's like a George Russell special. George Russell did a George Russell special in this race. He does nothing at all. But anyway, that will do it for today's video. Let me know what you thought about this Grand Prix. Are you excited for the next race in Zandvoort? I think we all are, because it's another month until Zandvoort. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.